So hello everybody, this is Bhante, Joe here, and I'm just here outside the Hatunakuti a bit on a rock, and thought to record a short Awada for the internet. So I thought that could start with a little meditation, so you can lean forward a bit and arch your spine, and look about 3 feet in front, and close our eyes. And can spread thoughts of goodwill to our right hand side, wishing may all beings to my right be happy and at ease. May they put in place the causes necessary to be happy and at ease. And we can make the mind infinite, can make it unbounded, all the way to the ends of the universe and beyond. In every dimension, may all beings to my right be happy and at ease. And we can spread thoughts of goodwill to our right hand side and our left hand side, wishing may all beings to my right and my left be happy and at ease. May they put in place the causes necessary to be happy and at ease. And we can spread thoughts of goodwill to our right hand side, our left hand side, and in front, wishing may all beings to my right, my left, and in front be happy and at ease. May they put in place the causes necessary to be happy and at ease. And we can spread thoughts of goodwill to our right hand side, our left hand side, in front, behind, in all 4 directions. May all beings in all 4 directions be happy and at ease. May they put in place the causes necessary to be happy and at ease. And we can spread thoughts of goodwill to our right hand side, our left hand side, in front, behind, and above. May all beings in all 4 directions and above be happy and at ease. May they put in place the causes necessary to be happy and at ease. And we can spread thoughts of goodwill to our right hand side, our left hand side, in front, behind, above, below, all around in every direction, everywhere. May all beings all around in every direction, everywhere be happy and at ease. May they put in place the causes necessary to be happy and at ease. And before we finish meditating, can spend a little time contemplating impermanence, how everything that's subject to being put together is eventually subject to ceasing. It's not me, it's not mine, it's not myself. It's unsatisfactory and suffering. Okay, and can open our eyes and do a short Owada for the internet. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Dhammāṃ saranang gacchāmi, Sanghaṃ saranang gacchāmi. Ditiyampi Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Ditiyampi Dhammāṃ saranang gacchāmi, Ditiyampi Sanghaṃ saranang gacchāmi. Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Dhammāṃ saranang gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Sanghaṃ saranang gacchāmi. So hope that everybody's having a great day wherever it might be. And things are good here. It's been the Vasa season and still not much rain, but lots of, quite a bit of sun. So that's been lovely. And oftentimes in Buddhism there's this kind of dynamic tension between things. And so this is what the Buddha describes as the middle path, kind of finding a balance between these two competing poles of skillful qualities. And sometimes, especially coming from a Western tradition, there's a religious tradition, especially stemming from Christian roots, where one kind of extends oneself to give to other people. One kind of gives one to other people, even to the extent of hurting oneself or going very far with that. And especially the people that one gives to are the ones who are the most in suffering, the most kind of in need of help. And of course there's a kind of certain beauty to this practice. Actually, the people who are in extreme straits, in dire straits, those people need a kind of a way to get out of that, or an option to get out of that. And of course, when one is living in a place where people are helping other people who are down, then it makes one feel quite a lot safer, in case one ends up in that difficult situation oneself. And so some of these kind of things can be mapped to what the Buddha calls these four right efforts. There's the effort to avoid, there's the effort to overcome, there's the effort to maintain, and there's the effort to develop. And so this attitude of kind of like overcoming is one that can help quite a lot with these dire situations, situations like a kind of a big war, or situations where people are in very horrible circumstances. One has to help them in those circumstances, or oneself falls into very difficult circumstances and one has to help oneself get out, or with the aid of other people, with the advice of other people, find ways to escape. And these are kind of often the things that big blockbuster movies get made out of. Kind of, there's some terrible problem, and there's very intense search for the solution to this problem, a very intense search to overcome this problem. And so this is the kind of the effort to overcome. There's also kind of very strong cultural elements of really great stories being built on the effort to develop. And somebody, this is especially the case with heroes in, say, business or science, where some amazing new discovery unfolds, or people go to Mars, or go to the moon. These kind of amazing feats that have happened in society, in kind of Western societies, kind of crossing the ocean and discovering a new world, or these kind of things, these amazing things about the effort to develop, and also the effort to overcome. These are what most stories in the West, heroes in the West do. They either they either overcome terrible dangers, or they tend to develop something new and wonderful, or find an amazing new way to do things that benefits people. But in Buddhism, there's also these other two types of efforts, the effort to avoid and the effort to maintain. And these types of effort aren't the types of effort that one would really make a movie about. So I remember hearing a quote once from somebody. He said something like, he was talking about marriage, and he said, "You don't know true love until you've been married for 40 years, or something like this. In other words, these kind of very intense emotions that people have in the effort to develop, the effort to overcome, there can be skillful elements to this, but there also can be unskillful elements. So, for example, if one is always looking for these very intense emotions, then it can become like an addiction that one has. One has to face these intense obstacles, or one has to always be involved in developing this new intense thing. And one's life, when things become normal, when things become even, then one's mind can become shifty around that normalcy. One's mind can become uneasy and start to feel like something's wrong, when actually everything's going fine and there's no need to change anything. So I'd heard a story one time about a monk who did this really intense practice. He was a monk in the Chinese tradition, and he did 3 steps and 1 bow for an incredibly long journey, maybe like 1,000 kilometers or 1,000 miles or so. And he took 3 steps and then bowed, 3 steps and then bowed, and did that for about 1,000 kilometers. And then he came back to the monastery and was going through the normal routines, but then disrobed. And so my teacher at the time, or my preceptor at the time, he told this story to kind of give a lesson, which was that one can sometimes engage in these very intense feats, but then when it comes to just being steady and stable and doing things normally, then sometimes that energy that allows one to engage in those intense feats isn't appropriate. And one can get thrown off by normalcy, by everything being fine, by everything being peaceful. So in the West, they don't tend to make movies where everything is fine, everything is peaceful, it's just a normal day, and there's no need to do anything extreme, just going through the routine. But in monastic training, this is actually the main emphasis that one tends to go through in at least in many forms of monastic training, or at least in forms of monastic training that center around training in monasteries, is basically one tends to learn to do a steady set of duties over and over again every single day without alteration. And part of this is to train one that the way that one's practice tends to work is that there can be in one's Buddhist practice these intense periods where things come together and one basically has to put forth a very extreme effort at that time, an extraordinary effort that one wouldn't normally do to overcome a defilement that's arisen, or to develop something. The time is right that one has to try to do things to develop in the Dhamma in ways that one hasn't before. And it requires this intense effort. And those are the types of stories that tend to get retold and put into books. And so then those are the stories actually where oftentimes one will one might have a breakthrough in the Dhamma, a breakthrough in one's practice, and see old terrible habits fall away. Or one might develop in a new way and have this very intense, one might have an intense experience where one sees something or develops a new skill in the Dhamma that one hadn't before. And these kind of events are the type of events that one hopes for in one's practice, that one hopes for in one's life, and that marks one's life. But what they don't tell stories about, or what sometimes isn't so easy to emphasize in the books, is the importance in training one's mind or in life of going through one's day or one's practice and having everything just be okay. Just having everything be normal. Just going through the normal course of the day and doing the normal routine. Oops. Just fell off there. And having nothing be wrong with that. So I remember when I was in university, I took business and liked entrepreneurship, and they found that the ways these discoveries or new modes of technology work is there tends to be this period where things are developing incrementally, just bit by bit by bit by bit by bit. And then at the end of that period, there's this revolutionary change. So, you have a tape cassette and it develops bit by bit by bit by bit. And then somebody invents a CD and it just throws the tape cassettes out of the window. And it tends to be this way because there's these kind of stages where the people are getting used to the technology, and then society as a whole is ready to consume a new version of this technology, or is ready to implement a revolutionary change. Most of the time the improvements are these kind of incremental improvements. So one's practice, one's life can be similar. If one is training the mind, then one wants to, of course, be sure to observe that one is moving forward, that what one is doing is actually taking steps forward. So it's not like one is engaging in a routine that's stagnating or bringing one backwards. But often one's day, one's practice is just doing these same things over and over again, just developing the same things over and over again, bit by bit by bit. And of course, time comes in one's practice that one needs these kind of intense periods, or that one may have these kind of intense experiences. But these are built on a foundation of this steady practice, of being stable in one's life. They're built on a foundation of the effort to maintain the good qualities that one has. They're built on the foundation of the effort to avoid undertaking new bad qualities. And these are the things that people don't make movies about. These are the things that one doesn't hear fairy tales about. But it's in this desire and training to develop a stability in one's mind, to develop a stability in one's life, to be okay when there isn't a very intense emotional experience, to be okay when one isn't engaging in a really intense battle or engaging in a really intense development, to be okay, to see it as noble, to see it as good, to see it as important, that one can develop in this incremental way, that one can go through one's life in a way that's stable, doing the same thing every day and building it gradually without falling back, maintaining the wholesome qualities that one has without falling back and avoiding the development of new ones. Because if one is just focused on this effort to develop and the effort to overcome, then what can tend to happen is one's life or one's practice becomes based on these very intense emotional experience where one is fighting a battle and wins the battle or whatever it might be, and then falls away from whatever experience one had. One goes on really intense meditation retreats and feels good, and then falls away, and then needs to try to repeat that intense experience. So the Buddha, he describes this in the suttas, where people kind of put forth this really intense effort. I can't remember what he says they gain results by forcefully suppressing the defilements. But then he describes at a later time, these people kind of attain to the concentration, I guess it's called, it's peaceful or sublime. I can't remember the exact wording used in the sutta, but the implication is that they attain to this level of peace or elimination of defilements that isn't based on this intense suppression. In other words, it's just become a normal part of their lifestyle. These practices that they've taken on, the way that they're developing the mind becomes normal, becomes a normal part of their lifestyle. And when this is the case, then their mind can become pliable, malleant, and wieldy, and they can direct it to the actual elimination of the taints. So in other words, in one's Buddhist practice, in one's life, one can come to value this quality of stability. One can come to value this quality of maintaining one's good qualities, just going through and not letting one's mind decline from where it's already been, of avoiding the taking on of new qualities. And of course, the effort to develop, the effort to overcome are also very important. Sometimes these intense periods are very important, but also having this value on gradually building, also having this value on developing the mind so that it's stable, developing the mind so that it's pliant, developing the mind so that it's wieldy, so that one's practices aren't just something one takes on for an intense period, they're just the way that one lives one's life. And this is how happiness in the mind, this is how peace in the mind can gradually build without regressing. This is one of the ways. And this is one of the ways that one can gain the foundation one needs to actually penetrate, to actually gain the attainments that one practice for, is based on a foundation of stability, based on a foundation of maintaining, based on a foundation of avoiding. One can have the foundation one needs to penetrate, to overcome, to develop, and to gain what one set out to gain in the Buddha's teachings. Okay, so leave that for reflection, and hope that everybody has a great day wherever it might be, and wishing all the blessings of Dhamma practice.